Known for her multiple marriages and colorful attire, tavern owner Bridget Bishop was a notorious figure in 17th century Salem, Massachusetts. Although she repeatedly denied the charges of witchcraft against her, she was found guilty and hanged on the village's Gallows Hill, making her the first victim of the Salem witch trials. In 1692, 19 people in Salem were executed for witchcraft. In addition, 1 man was pressed to death during questioning, and 5 more died due to the cold, unsanitary conditions in the town jail. How did this tragedy happen? Scholars still debate the origins of the mass hysteria that spread throughout Salem and colonial Massachusetts. Religious extremism, economic upheaval, misogyny, perhaps a poisonous fungus called ergot, are all debated as possible contributors to the mayhem. It all started when Reverend Samuel Parris found his 9-year-old daughter Elizabeth and 11-year-old niece Abigail Williams experiencing unexplained fits. The young girls screamed loudly, babbled in gibberish, and contorted themselves into strange shapes. Under pressure to explain their behavior, the girls accused 3 women of practicing black magic against them. The town's magistrates ruthlessly interrogated the accused. To the shock of all present, Tituba, an enslaved member of the Parris household, confessed to consorting with Satan and alleged that Good and Osborne had done so too. This admission rattled Salem and led to further paranoia and more potential offenders, many of whom filled the local jail. One of those targeted was Bishop, who was issued a death warrant a few months later. The hysteria provoked Governor William Phips to establish a special court that allowed spectral evidence, or testimony based on dreams and visions. Despite pushback from critics, Phips refused to budge, at least until his wife came under suspicion of witchcraft. Soon after, he disbanded the court, replacing it with one that prohibited the use of spectral evidence. This marked the beginning of the end of the Salem witch trials. 5 years later, the General Court of Massachusetts introduced a day of fasting and prayer as penance for what had transpired. In 1711, the colony approved legislation restoring the rights of the accused and offering up to £600 in compensation to the descendants of those imprisoned or convicted. Fast forward to nearly 2 centuries later, and Massachusetts officially apologized for its actions during the witch trials. But this wasn't the end of the state's attempts at redemption. In 2022, an 8th grade civics class discovered that one Elizabeth Johnson Jr. had never been acquitted for her 1693 witchcraft conviction. The student successfully petitioned the Massachusetts legislature to clear her name. After almost 330 years, Johnson was the last Salem victim to be exonerated for the crime of witchcraft.